Record.
Awesome. All right. Welcome, everyone. Tonight, we are talking all about mental health. Mental health. We all hands up if you are watching today and you or someone you know has suffered with some sort of mental health struggle before. If your hand's not up, you're probably lying because it is rampant. There's so many people struggling. If it's not you, it's probably someone else in your house, right? And it doesn't go very far before we find someone that is struggling with mental health. Mental health can be anything from anxiety, depression, sensory issues, ADHD, panic attacks, just it could be baby blues after having a baby. It's all these things. Lots of people struggle and often struggle in silence, right? And so just put it in the chat if you or someone else you know suffers from any of those things. Name it in the chat. Is it anxiety? Is it depression? Is it a little of everything? ADHD? Can you think of anything else? Yeah, bipolar, depression, PTSD. Yes, winter blues. Yes, if you live somewhere where the sun does not shine all the time in winter, absolutely. OCD, that's another one. Absolutely. Yes, bouts of depression. Yes. Oh my gosh. I think everybody from time to time can feel this way, right? And so yes, more depression, ADHD. Yes. So many people struggling with that, right? So attention deficit disorder is huge, and possibly because we have all these distractions. So we need help getting a little more laser focused. But what is the cause of all this? So sometimes it can be caused by, I'm going to back up just a second and just introduce myself, just in case you are watching and you have no clue what I'm talking about or why I'm talking about this. But my name's Jen, and I am a certified holistic nutrition practitioner and also an associate with Trinont. And we're going to be sharing some stories today about some products that have made significant impact on people who have been looking for help beyond the pharmaceutical, conventional medicine. Lots of people are utilizing those avenues, however, not seeing quite the results they're looking for, and so they're looking for more. And so I am here to share a little bit about what are some of the causes that come with these things, because it can be caused by trauma, lifestyle habits, all kinds of things can happen that kind of sets us into a bit of a spiral into depression and anxiety. But what we're recognizing more and more today is that there are a lot of nutrient deficiencies associated with a lot of these things we're talking about: anxiety, depression, OCD, ADHD, a lot of nutrient deficiencies that we're seeing come into that. And so I'm just going to list a couple of them, talk a little bit about some of them, and then we're going to get to some stories, because we have seen tremendous results really, really fast. I know I shared my story yesterday on social media about how these products have impacted one of my children. And so what we're noticing is that nutrition and depression are intricately and undeniably linked to different deficiencies. So it's important we're getting some rich amino acids. But the problem is that proteins, where amino acids come from, are often not being digested properly. So gut health. Have you heard gut health before? Gut health and like the gut brain axis? Yes, right? So gut health is so important. And though often one of the hardest things to digest is proteins. And there's two amino acids in particular that are directly impacted when we're deficient with them. They literally are directly connected to depression, anxiety, and these sorts of symptoms. And so tyrosine and taurine are two amino acids. And if we're not breaking down our proteins, we're not accessing these nutrients. So one, gut health. Gut health is super, super important because if we are not breaking down those proteins, we're not accessing the amino acids that our body needs. These amino acids play important roles in memory, cognitive function. They help produce chemical messengers to the brain. So they help with the production of things like serotonin and dopamine. So these are just really important amino acids that our body needs. And one of the neurotransmitters, dopamine, is actually made from tyrosine, which is an amino acid. So if we are deficient in that, of course, we're going to have problems with creating these neurotransmitters, right? There's also lots of evidence to show that there's B vitamins that are deficient. And again, if we're not breaking down our fruits and vegetables as best as we can be, our grains, our whole grains. And we've also seen, has everybody kind of been like heard of keto diet before? So there's been this huge trend of keto, which is cutting all these carbs out, these whole grains and complex carbohydrates. That is where our B vitamins come from. So if we're cutting that whole food group out, we're going to become deficient. And the deficiency doesn't come overnight. So you might go on one of these fad diets and feel like good at first because you also cut out processed food in the process of it. But if you cut out a whole food group like these complex carbohydrates and these whole grains, you're also cutting out all those B vitamins. B vitamins will eventually become deficient in your body over time and then start creating some of these symptoms of things like anxiety, depression. So those are just a couple of things. The other thing that can often create these symptoms is chronic inflammation in the body. So if there's chronic inflammation in the body, that can be potentially dangerous as well, and that can cause problems in that. There's something called lion's mane mushroom extract, which can also help speed the healing of the brain. So if there's been any sort of brain impact or brain functioning problem that's been happening, this can help actually stimulate the growth and repair of the nerve cells in the brain. So lion's mane, really good nutrient for that. Rhodiola is a really great nutrient. It increases energy, stamina, strength, mental capacity, even improves athletic performance. It also is considered an adaptogen, so it helps us resist the effects of stress. Who has heard that stress is like the #1 killer? Stress. So what stress does, one of the reasons why stress is such a killer is when we have high stress, our stress hormones turn off our digestive systems, which means we're not producing enzymes to break down our foods, again, affecting our gut health. So it kind of all is connected, even though there's different pieces of it. So the rhodiola has been seen to help manage depression, anxiety, and other symptoms. So it can positively influence the neurotransmitters affecting that mood, emotion, anxiety, stress, fatigue, and depression. So those are just a couple of ingredients. And, we know that we need to be able to absorb these ingredients as well. So it's really important to have a high quality source of them so that your body can actually absorb it and utilize it. There's one more ingredient I'm going to talk about, which is huperzine. Huperzine. Has anyone heard of huperzine before? So huperzine it has hard-hitting effects of boosting cognition, improving memory, reducing stress and stress and anxiety in highly stressed adults and children. Okay. So this can also benefit by increasing alertness and energy. It helps brain fog vanish. Anybody have brain fog or has experienced brain fog in the past? So it will help with the brain fog. It can help with memory improvement, motivation. Sometimes have you ever lacked motivation? That can be connected as well. Mood improvement. So and it is something that's really fast acting as well. So it's not something that you need to like be consuming over time for 30 days before you read or see any sort of results. It can be very fast acting, and that's one of the active ingredients that is in one of the products that we're talking about today. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the products that we're going to be sharing about, but first let's hear from some of the people that have come to share with you their own personal experiences from themselves and their family members on what has taken place in their home. So first person I'd love to call forward to speak is Allie. Allie, would you like to be our first person to share here tonight?
Sure, I can. I'd rather go first because then I'm not going to be crying at everybody else's, or I will, but then I won't cry through mine. Yeah, so I started taking some of the supplements. I started taking collagen and Enrich for my own self. Realizing that there's, I suffer with anxiety and depression. I've been on anti-anxiety meds since I finally admitted to my doctor after my daughter was born that I had suffered from depression for a long time. He called it dysthymine, I think, and he explained it as like everybody else's normal is up here, right? So it's kind of like this. My normal is down here going like this, and sometimes I get up to everybody else, but mostly it's down here swimming. So I don't know if anyone else has experienced that, but when I started taking ordering the collagen, I was entered into one of our testimonial groups. And I don't know why this one particular comment caught my attention, but because there was no photos, and usually I don't read things without photos. But it was talking about this lady in the UK was talking about how her daughter suffers with severe test anxiety. And so her sister had been visiting from the US and had brought one of the Turn-On products called Focus and said, here, try this for your daughter. And so the lady did. She tried the Focus, thought it was really great. She said her daughter, like, it was debilitating. And her daughter was just was able to get through the exam and no problem. And because usually it would be days before the exam, she'd start this process. So that got me thinking about my own daughter. We have struggled with anxiety. I passed it on, we pass it on through our bloodstream. And there's a whole bunch of other environmental effects. And so we were starting in grade 3, we really started trying to do some mindset reset work. I've been doing a lot of brain development studying. I studied to become a positive self-talk coach in a process called belief repatterning. And as much as I could be supportive of her, she was still suffering. And then COVID hit, and that just made things so much worse. I mean, for everybody, it made things worse, but for her in particular, she's a single child. We were very isolated. We were isolated from her best grandma. Her best friend in the world was grandma always. And just that isolation just really made things so much worse. And I didn't realize that she was also suffering from OCD because she spent much of her time at school. And then all of a sudden she's homeschooling, and I started noticing tics. And, as much as I was trying to work through them, I also was not working. And she got to the point where she started really begging me for therapy, which we couldn't afford. So, my husband's plan, it's a very small plan, $750 is all that we get for therapy for her. So that's like just over 3, maybe not quite 4 sessions, which doesn't go very far when you're suffering. And so I started doing other things. I tried to take part-time jobs so that I could start paying for her therapy. She has been getting a lot of support from the therapy. It's fantastic. Actually, we've been dealing with working with the family to sort of help her. And I've really noticed her OCD has really subsided. We've done a few other things to support her as well, but she still suffers. So my choice was to either start going on pharmaceuticals for her. In my own experience, I was taking anti-anxiety medication, which my doctor straight out told me, you're not going to see effects from this for at least 6 to 8 weeks when I first started taking it. And he said, don't think about going off of it. You have to wean yourself off because the side effects are horrible, which they really, truly are horrible. So you can imagine what that's doing to your insides. So anyways, the journey, long story, the journey, I read that post and I thought, oh, I'm going to try this. So I ordered the Focus. I told my daughter they were coming. So we've been waiting and waiting for them to come. I mean, a week. They came in a week. It seemed like an eternity. And the day that they arrived, it was a PD day. And so she's home. I'm working in my office and I get the email comes up saying your package has been delivered. So at my lunch hour, I go out and I said, Abby, the Focus is here. And she's like, oh, okay, great. She's been waiting patiently for mom's hippie drugs to show up. And so I go out, I open up the box, we have lunch, I give her 2 pills. According to the directions, it says up to 3 pills a day with meals. So I gave her 2 pills. Prior to me doing that, she was sitting in my dark basement. She had her hoodie on over her head. She had a blanket up to her chest and she was watching TV, just trying to do everything possible to ignore life in general, which was a normal thing for her to be doing. So gave her 2 pills. I had to came back to work, and like an hour and a half later, she came into my office. The hoodie was off. She said, Mom, I'm going to go for a walk. So she went for a walk outside. She was chatty with us that evening. She didn't go hide in her bedroom. And I just thought, okay, that's great. We'll see how this goes. The next day, same thing. Wake up first thing in the morning. We start doing one at breakfast. We're planning on doing one at lunch. She's chatty on the way to school. She's coming home from school and spending time with us as a family. She's been cooking, like this has been 2-3 weeks. She's been cooking dinners for us. She's been, just her life is back. So I also added a product that we have called Zest. And Zest is, I call it our juice. Give it to my husband. He quite enjoys it. And it's just a nice drink to have that gives us sustained energy. And she really notices a difference on these products. And I notice a difference. And so it's just been a huge godsend for us as a family to be able to have something that isn't harming us, that is whole foods, a natural supplement that really is supporting us. So it's been huge for us.
Every time I hear your story, I hear just little bits more, and it gets harder and harder to hold back the tears because I totally know how you're feeling as a mom.
Yeah.
I live the same sort of thing.
Yeah.
We experience that too. And so you said it's been 2 or 3 weeks now?
Yeah, it's been about 3 weeks, I would say. Yeah.
And it's just consistent, right
Consistent.
from day one.
Yeah. There are days like on weekends, she'll be like, oh, mom, I don't need to take this. I'm not going to school. And I'm like, no, let's just have it anyways. I'm taking them as well. I have actually gone off of my anxiety medication. Not exactly the way you're supposed to with your doctor and weaning yourself off, but I was running out of pills and I just thought I'm not going to order more. So I did suffer some side effects for a few days, which were kind of terrible. But other than that, the focus and mojo or zest is what I have.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your story. I love it. It's so fantastic because it's not just us as adults that are dealing with this. It's the kids too, right? And often we don't know what to do for them, right? Because we just muscle through. But for the kids, it's so hard to watch them suffer like that.
Well, and
Um,
I don't want her to. I don't want to be the role model teaching her how to muscle through,
yeah.
right? Like that's not what I want for her life. She's
No,
she's worth so much more than that. So
I know. It's awesome. Hopefully, maybe one day she'll be able to feel brave enough to come share her own story on one of these calls. I would
yeah.
love to see her face. Um, Cassandra, would you like to share your story next?
Well, that's a bit hard to follow.
Oh,
But sure. Um, so when I first ordered Churnont products, I didn't order them for myself. I had ordered them for my husband. He was suffering from, or well, still is, but it's improved from some chronic pain. Um, but I thought I'd order one of the bigger kits that had a wide variety of products. I wanted to try some of them out. So I noticed the Focus and I thought, well, I'm going to give that a try because I've been B deficient for a long time. In my early 20s, I took B12 injections from my doctor um, for probably 3 or 4 years. I saw some improvement, but nothing miraculous. And then from the like they would check my blood work to see my levels, and they were in an allowable range, so they stopped the injections, and I just tried to keep on top of it with different like pill forms. So I'd tried many different other companies of pills. I'd had my doctor prescribe them to me and got them straight from a pharmacy. I tried them from health food stores. I tried it in liquid. I tried it in pill. I tried all the things. In my early 30s, I found myself in a very, very dark place. Never put, shockingly, I never put the connection of depression and B deficiency together. Um, so I was on antidepressants for quite a few years. I was able to work with a really good psychologist and do some mental health work there. And I was able to wean myself off of the medication with assistance of my doctor. And I was really happy to be off them. And then we got pregnant after that. And I was really terrified um, having my children that I could potentially suffer from postpartum depression. So that kind of really freaked me out because I didn't ever want to go dark and be responsible for caring for little humans at the same time. So I tried to kind of make a safety net with my husband and some of my closest friends that if we had like some code words, that if I was going dark, that they could say to me to pull me out, or for me to recognize that I very much needed help, because that's the hardest part for me, is that I didn't see or recognize that I needed help when I needed the help. It had to get very, very bad before I realized that I couldn't handle it on my own. So my first 2 pregnancies were great. Being a mom was great. My 3rd pregnancy is when I started to struggle By this time, how old would am I? Well, my oldest would have been 5 when my third was born. Um, and then I had talked to a few mom friends, and I had said, like, I'm a very chill, calm person. Anybody that knows me, I'm pretty relaxed. Um, and so I'd never experienced rage before until I was pregnant with my third, and that was super scary. Um, I could feel the switch flip inside me, and it was like almost like an out of body experience to be so filled with rage and know that it's not acceptable, but not be able to like reel yourself in. It like is the grossest feeling ever. Um, so I knew I either needed pharmaceuticals or something. So I had a friend suggest some essential oils, and so I started using those, and they actually kind of helped me pull things together. Um, and I guess they helped enough that I didn't go and get pharmaceuticals because I really didn't want to. In hindsight, I maybe should have. Um, so it took me, yeah, I guess long story short, I didn't realize how kind of off track I've been for the last good 3 years. And you know, I chalked it up to having babies, having a husband that's away on the road all the time, because we have a small trucking company, so he's gone a fair bit, momming alone a lot, going through the pandemic, momming alone, homeschooling, all the rest. So it was just like, it was easy to grab a beer to take the edge off, or open a bottle of wine when you're cooking dinner in the afternoon. Or there was a lot of reasons that I could find that would just be easy to just take the edge off with alcohol. So yeah, I also grew up with a father who was an alcoholic. I am very grateful that he stopped drinking when I was turning 10 years old, and he's been sober since. So I knew I never wanted to do that to my kids. Sorry.
Everyone's giving you love in the chat there.
Okay. So fast forward a bit. I decided I was going to try Focus. Had zero expectations of what it would do for me. I just kind of thought, oh, B vitamins are good for me. My doctor says I should stay on top of that. So I tried them out, and within a few hours, I was like, what's happening? Like, I feel good. And then the next day, I also tried the Mojo. And the combo was just next level. And I was hesitant to even try the Mojo because I'm like super caffeine sensitive, or I'm just shitty caffeine source sensitive. I can take the Mojo and the Zest, no problem, function really great, feel good all day, still go to bed and have a great sleep. Regular caffeine, I like start clenching my teeth at night. I just roll around. Not that I'm like alert, I'm just can't fully shut my brain off and go to sleep on a crappy caffeine source. So I had just eliminated caffeine entirely from my life. So yeah, Jen and I actually, I work with her for a metabolic balance plan. So she had had a meeting with me to just check in to see how I was doing with that. And I started the call by saying, Jen, did you roofie me? What are you, what is in this? Is it street drugs? I haven't felt this good sober in years. And so we had a good laugh about it.
I'd say I cried more than I laughed.
Yeah, so I couldn't really believe it. And then I've talked to a couple people about it, and they're like, oh yeah, I've taken good vitamins and felt really great in the beginning too, but then like they lose their luster and they don't really, you don't feel that great anymore. So then I was like, oh yeah, okay, I hope that's not it. Like we'll see how this goes. But I've been doing this since February, and yeah, I feel great. There's been a few times where like just got busy, left the house, didn't have any with me, had forgotten to take it with my breakfast, and then I could tell that I was like, ooh, yeah, things aren't like, I'm not like in a hole. I'm still able to function, missing them for a day or so, but you definitely notice you're missing them.
Yeah. And one of the reasons why you notice that difference is because your body utilizes them very quickly. It's not necessarily, so you're deficient. You can become deficient more easily, perhaps, than someone else in those B vitamins because your body utilizes them in all the functions and processes in your body. You just burn through them quick, right? And remember that those B vitamins are water soluble vitamins. You burn through them quicker than maybe someone else does. You know, we're all biochemically unique, and for you, that could be why you have that deficiency. You just literally need more.
Yeah.
Some people, and that might be the case for many people.
So I think the coolest thing that or scenario since doing this is that so my daughter's 4, and so I don't know what we were doing, like nothing special, and or to me, like it just seemed like an ordinary day, and then she just goes, "Mommy, you're so fun." And she had never said anything like that to me before, and it just kind of like made me take 10 steps back, because and then I felt a little sad for her, but then also really happy that we are where we are, because I used to be fun mom. Like I was so fun when my first 2 boys were little. Like we did all the fun things. I was happy mom, and yeah, and then she has not got to experience that. So I'm really glad that this kind of fell on my lap in the way that it did, and that
and
yeah.
she's still so young, so what a
Yes.
gift. What a gift. Amazing. This is the only mom she's going to remember 2 years from now.
Right.
I love it. I love it. I can't wait to hear more continued success stories as you go. I'm going to just ask I'm going to ask Amanda to come on. Thank you, Cassandra, for sharing your heart with us.
You're welcome.
Amanda, I know you would like to share a little bit about what you're experiencing.
Hi. Okay. So I have struggled with depression and anxiety for more than half my life. And then add PTSD onto that. It's been a roller coaster for me. What I'm going to share is I'm not yet on Focus. I can't wait to get that one. But this shows how much the Get Health really makes a difference. So I started taking Enrich at the beginning of January. Then I had my daughter on the 20th of January. So she is 3 months old now. And I started taking the Glow right after that. I've been also taking Mojo since beginning January. Got to say that. And I've also added the Nourish Shake It. So I've been taking these. I've been feeling decent. Noticing, but the big notice was a friend of mine recently made a comment to me. And then Jen also made a comment to me of how much better I've been doing, that I haven't been going downhill and stuff like that. I've missed days of taking my antidepressants and have not noticed, which is just like mind boggling. Because for me in the past, if I missed 1 or 2 days of taking them, it was like massive downhill, takes like a week to get me back to not hiding in a corner, trying to stay away from everybody, all that. After I had my son, he is 8, but after I had him, I did suffer with postpartum quite a lot. This time around, I have yet, I'm happy. I'm having good days. I have not had a really bad day yet, which it's amazing. Yeah, it's been spectacular. I was also on a high dose of anxiety medication for quite a long time. And I had to stop taking that when I got pregnant. And after my son, right after, they had to put me back on my anxiety medication. Since I had my daughter, I have not felt the need to have to go back on my anxiety medication. It has been just amazing. Between gut health and my mojo, and now I just can't, my focus is on its way. I can't wait for that to get here to just add to it.
Well, we can't wait to hear how it affects you, because I mean, it affects everyone differently and everyone has their own story. And the last person I'd like to share with you guys, I would love for Trent to share the story of his son and what you guys got to experience, because your story brings just so much joy to my heart, having children myself that I've watched suffer through things. So
Yeah,
okay.
thanks, Jen. Bit of a crazy story, and I feel for all of you who've shared so far. Just a backstory is my ex suffered from postpartum, and it was I'm getting a bit emotional. It was tough, really tough. But my youngest son, he's 10 now. He's been struggling a bit in school and just socially for probably, well, a lot of his life, but in the last few months, quite a bit more, just getting in little scuffles at school and stuff like that, and just not doing really well. And we were on Easter weekend, we decided to go for a hike. And I thought, I've heard all these stories about Zest and people having like a really good time with it. And I mean, Benny loves the mojo, and I love the mojo too, actually. So we were going on a hike, and he was scared to go over the logs over the bridge, and he just wasn't having a good morning, and he hadn't been having a good time for a while. And so we finally get over this log. He was crawling, and then I thought, okay, I'll give him some Zest. He had about maybe a third of a bottle, and I swear within 10 minutes, he was on the best hike of his life and just super happy. And he even said to me, I'll paraphrase because I don't know exactly what he said. He said, Dad, I haven't actually genuinely felt really happy before. And I said, well, how do you feel now? He said, I'm happy. And that was just made my heart sing. It was great. And then we continued on the hike, and he had a great time. And then on the way back, so we had to go, a little backstory here. We had to go over the log because the regular trail was washed out. And on the way back, we actually talked to someone who found another trail that went back that didn't have to go over the log, but he wanted to. So he actually said, no, let's go over the log. And then he pretty much ran across it. It was just crazy. So,
and I mean, like when he was going across the log the first time, he was in tears. He was like on his shaking, like he was like, we didn't even know if we were going to be able to go on this family hike. So when we say it turned around 180, and even your other kids who know him quite well were like, we have never seen him like this before.
and he was holding my hand on the way back a little bit,
Yeah.
which he hasn't done for years. So that was just, it was really cool to see. So I'm looking forward to giving him some more of that, because I think for school, maybe I need to talk to his mom a bit, but having it before school might help with his struggles there, because he has quite high anxiety at school. And yeah.
And we just started private swim lessons for both our boys on Wednesdays.
Oh yeah.
and they just started last Wednesday. And so Trent was like, I'm going to give him Zest on the way down. And honestly, we didn't even know if he was going to get in the pool. Like our expectations were like
Very low.
very low. And he was like in the pool at the end of the swim lesson. He said, my goal is that I'm going to be swimming by the end of this swim lessons. And that was like, we weren't even sure if he was going to get in the pool. So it's just an amazing tool. And this is the beauty of everybody sharing, is we wouldn't have even thought to try some of these things if it wasn't for the bravery of so many other people who share their amazing testimonies.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
thank you. We're so grateful for this community.
I love it. I love it. So the products that we talked about, the 3 core products that we talked about is the Enrich. So the Enrich is a digestive enzyme and stabilized probiotic. So this stabilized probiotic, what does that mean? That means that it's actually going to get to your gut. So it doesn't need refrigeration, which is a good thing, because those probiotics that need refrigeration start dying the second they go into our body, because we are not the temperature of a refrigerator. And so that is a key crucial thing. But there's 11 plant-based enzymes to break down all of those nutrients that we're getting through our food. So when we think about that, you remember I talked about the importance of breaking down your proteins, your carbohydrates, all the things. And a lot of these kids who suffer, and adults who suffer with depression, anxiety, these sorts of symptoms, often have food sensitivities also. And food sensitivities can be a key red flag for you to note that they for sure are deficient in enzymes, which is why they're having which can be why they're having these food sensitivities. And so we've seen this also help with that. So if food sensitivities are kind of a combination of what is being suffered, this can also potentially create some balance with that too. So it's got those enzymes to break down the food to the smallest molecular structure so your body can access the nutrients. The prebiotics and probiotics are going to help your body absorb it. It's also going to help your body eliminate the stuff you don't want to keep in your body. Because remember, we talked about chronic inflammation also being a contributing factor. If we're not eliminating effectively, we will create chronic inflammation in our body. So this product will help with that gut health from the top all the way down to the bottom. It helps with all of that. And then our Mojo and our Zest is a nootropic drink that you just mix with water. So Trent talked about putting it in the bottle. So I imagine you probably poured it into a water bottle and shook it up. So you add this to water. And this is going to increase mood, focus, and energy. Okay, so mood, focus, energy, hands up if you know someone that needs a little boost in their mood, focus, energy. Often as adults, we drink coffee to increase our mood and energy. How many people have seen the meme of like, don't talk to me before I've had my coffee, right? So clearly people think like they need this coffee. But the problem with that is it also creates the crash. So you're lucky to get an hour and a half of energy and possibly some mood boosting effects from coffee, but it's also going to cycle you into a whole lot of negative things. And it also can impact your gut health in a very negative way. And so it's not going to be it's not going to be beneficial, where this is going to give you like 6 hours of consistent energy instead of that spike of energy. But it's not just giving you like fake increased mood. It's actually creating your body. It's encouraging your body to naturally produce dopamine and serotonin, which is going to help you with those happy hormones, happy chemicals in your body. Oh, Mark was just saying that coffee is also a diuretic, which is going to dehydrate you. This is not a diuretic. So there's that too. And that coffee will flush out all kinds of enzymes and nutrients from your body too. So it's not going to, it's not, you're either, whenever you put anything in your body, you're either contributing to your health or you're not. There's no middle ground. There's no neutral. You're either going to be improving your health. So we live on a slope of health, and whatever we put in our body, on our body, in our minds, all those things, you're either lifting yourself up or lowering yourself down. And so we want to be consuming things that lift us up more than lift us down. And so focus is that B vitamin complex. So one of the reasons why this is so effective, more effective than other B complexes on the market, is because it also has chelated minerals to increase the absorption of those B vitamins. So this is a cofactor that allows for the body to actually utilize those B vitamins. And if you see minerals in a B complex, sometimes you might see them. Most don't have any at all, but if you do see them, I've never seen them in the chelated form. And if they're not in the chelated form, they're just less effective. So that's why we see the fast results. It's the formulation of these B vitamins, these naturally grown B vitamins. This is actually, I see the question in there. These are capsules, so gel capsules. And so it is a powder in a gel capsule. And so it also has a whole complex of those herbals that I was talking about: rhodiola, lion's mane, huperzine, all of these sort of effective ingredients that help to magnify the results from this B complex. So they all work all the ingredients work synergistically together for this crazy, insane result that you heard here today with that. And so with that, I'm going to hand it over to Benny to share a little bit more about how you can get your hands on the products, because whoever you invited you to watch this video, reach out to them. They have a link for you, and they can share with you so that you can get your hands on it, try it, or share it with someone that you maybe you're thinking, like 10 people who need their hands on this. Perhaps you need to have your own online store, and you could be referring them to your own website. So Benny, how do we get started? How do we get these products in our hands?
Thanks, Jen. So there's two different ways that you can get a hold of the Turn On products. You can either order as a customer, or you can order as an associate. So Jen was just saying this before, but hands up if hearing Allie's story or Amanda's story or Cassandra's story, you thought of somebody in your life. I know we've been holding back tears over here on our screens. So for me, I always recommend to people that you order as an associate. There's perks to that. The main one is that you will get your own website. So then you can give your website out to someone else. So I always like to refer this to sort of your favorite restaurant, right? So I'm sure Amanda, if you have some mom friends out there, similar, if you had the best coffee shop in town or restaurant you love to go to and you refer it, then you're now going to earn some commission on the products that go out of your website. There's also other ways to earn from the business, but that's the main difference. I'm going to pull up my slides because we actually just launched a 10th anniversary sale today. And I'm really excited because the Mojo and the Zest we talked about are in one of those. So let me pull this up for you. So here are the specials. And they were just launched today, and it's on for 10 days. And you can either, oops, go back. There we go. So the middle one here is called Up the Enthusiasm, which we've heard tonight from a few different people, that the Mojo is my love, and the Zest, which has helped so many people, is on sale. So you actually buy 2 Mojo and you get 2 Zest for free. There's also 3 other bundles that are on sale that I'll just point out. The Nourish that Amanda talked about, the Glow Collagen, and you get a free Mojo. So that bundle's 25% off, plus you get a free Mojo. So if you want, you definitely want to try the Mojo. Take my word for it. And then there's the Glow Up bundle, which has 3 collagen, 1 for free. And then the Keep It Fresh, which is the oral care bundle. So those are the sales that just went on today. And I'm just going to show you the other slide, which is our associate bundles as well. So you could do, You can order as an associate either of these bundles, but the ones I'm going to show you next are just for associates. So these are the associate packs. And I believe it was Cassandra that said she ordered one of the bigger bundles just to get her hands on some of these products. And I'm betting that you're really glad that you ordered those products, even though you didn't know that the focus was going to make a difference in your life. So we always share that the only regret we have of this business is that we did not get the platinum pack, because once you come on this call, you want to try the focus or different things on your family members or loved ones. So there's a pack for everyone in all different price range. And yeah, that's how you can get a hold of the products. So whoever invited you today, please reach out to them and maybe just drop in the comments. If you are currently an associate, we'd love for you to share which is your favorite pack to start on. And if you are a guest on tonight, maybe just put in the comments if you would like the specials or the packs, and we'll make sure that we get back to you with that. And I'm just going to end with a few things. If you do decide to order as an associate, what is possible? So I've been in this industry now for 8 years. Jen, you and Mark have been in the industry for how many years now?
13 years.
13 years. And, you know, there is so many benefits to having an additional revenue stream. I actually started in this industry before I became a single mom. My background's actually social work. And this has given me the opportunity to have the flexibility and freedom to be home with my son. But Ali, I gotta say that hearing you say that you couldn't afford counseling, that really hit home for me. So I'm just going to share that back in September, Trent and I are actually both single parents. I might get a little teary, you guys. This has been an emotional night. You guys have been amazing. Thanks for your shares. So back in September, my income was going down and life has been more expensive. Anybody out there notice that groceries are more expensive? Everything seems to cost more these days. My previous company, my income was going down significantly. I was struggling to buy groceries. I had to cut my son's activities. I couldn't afford to put him in karate. And the other piece for me is that my co-parent, so his father is bipolar, and he was diagnosed bipolar right before the pandemic hit. So that was an extremely challenging time as a single parent to not only support my son financially, I'm the breadwinner, I pay for everything for him, but most of the time his dad is struggling. And so this business has made a huge difference for our families. So we shared that our boys are in private swim lessons and they need some extra help. And I am so grateful, like seeing them in the pool last Wednesday, like flopping around in the water, smiling. They would not, if anybody has kids with anxiety or complex needs, they would not be thriving in a group lesson with 8 other children. My son is also struggling at school and going through some diagnosis testing right now, and he's now doing tutoring twice a week. And that was just not possible 4 months ago before I started this business. And one of the benefits of, doing the business is we're actually both working the business. So we're pulling in 2 incomes. And so that is we're creating a legacy for our family and also for ourselves, which, that's the big picture. So that is the kind of difference that having an additional revenue stream can make. And that was my fear always, Ali, was what if my kid needs this and I can't pay for it? There's nothing like being a parent and feeling like you don't have the resources. So I love that we're helping people. I'm just going to show, we're also driving new Jeeps. I'm just going to.
Just a little thing.
Just a little thing. We're both
driving Jeeps.
I just wanted to pull up this really quickly because I don't think we talk about finances enough. The other piece to this was back in September, I have anxiety and I was having panic attacks. So at least once a week, I was pulling over, driving because I couldn't breathe. And most of it was because I didn't know if I would have enough money to pay my mortgage next month. And so, Jen was talking about stress, and financial stress is real. So financial stability, having a second revenue stream. So just to give you guys an idea, I'm currently at Sapphire at this level here, and Trent is almost at Ruby here. So that is a life-changing difference in our ability to provide for our families. So those are the different ways you can get a hold of your products. But I also just wanted to share, if you are curious about the business side, just a little bit of the bigger picture, because I really did start these products for my own health, and it has turned into something pretty big and beautiful. So that is that. Thank you guys for sharing tonight.
Thanks everyone for watching. Get back to the person who invited you to watch this and share with them what you thought. What is the big takeaway? What are your questions? They'll be really happy to help you answer your questions, or forward the questions to myself or Benny, and we'll be happy to help you out. Bye everyone. Have a great night.
Right.